Yes, it's true. My name is Christopher KARAGUEZIAN. I'm from Armenia. I work at TUMO Studios. I'm the design manager there. I work on developing products and also developing the curriculum. More about that later. So this talk is about the critical need to rethink craft education. First off, I want to start with defining what I mean by that, by what I mean by traditional crafts. So the world of crafts is vast, but for this presentation, I want to focus mainly on traditional craftsmanship. At its heart, traditional crafts are skill-based, handmade practices that directly engage the artisan's hands and traditional tools. They operate independently of advanced or digital machinery. These practices are deeply rooted in local culture and tied to specific regions. Many traditional crafts have developed distinct visual identities, often defined by their use of unique materials, specific colors, patterns, and specialized tools and techniques. These creations are more than just decorative, they embody centuries of accumulated knowledge and cultural wisdom. When we think of traditional crafts, our minds might first picture images of ornate patterns, religious symbols, or meticulous work that conveyed status and wealth, such as the intricately crafted objects and elements found in cathedrals or royal palaces. And while that's true, most everyday artisans primarily created objects that were both functional and deeply meaningful to daily life. These were utilitarian items like clay pots, woven baskets, durable tools, carpets, embroidered garments, and other essentials for daily living. Their true value lay in their practical utility and their deep connection to daily routines. So where do we find them today? The landscape. Just a sec. Just here. Where do we find traditional crafts today? The landscape of traditional crafts has dramatically shifted. Today we primarily encounter them in a few distinct categories. We see them exhibited in museums and historical contexts. For their aesthetic, cultural, and historical significance. They are also found in personal collections, admired for their materials, processes, and design qualities, as well as their cultural significance. We find them as fine arts or luxury items. These are unique, often expensive commissioned pieces within the design art market. Found in galleries or high-end boutiques, they might integrate into contemporary design, but typically remain exclusive. But most frequently, we find them linked to tourism and souvenirs. These items are often cheaper, more uniform, and produced through industrial or semi-industrial means. They are often superficial imitations rather than authentic, handcrafted expressions. Crucially, we find them very rarely in our daily lives as utilitarian objects. While some are sold directly by artisans and designers online or in small specialized shops, this is the exception, not the rule. This signifies a profound shift away from their original widespread functional roles. So, the decline of traditional crafts, particularly those producing everyday utilitarian objects, is a complex issue driven by several interconnected factors. Traditional craftsmanship for everyday items has faced a sharp decline because industrial processes can produce similar goods much more cheaply and uniformly. These industrially made items often have comparable or even superior characteristics in terms of precision, durability, or ease of production. High production costs and significant time investments mean that craftspeople often cannot price their meticulously crafted products to truly reflect the hours and efforts invested. This results in low profit margins for utilitarian items, making it very difficult to compete with mass production. While highly talented artisans may be sought after by luxury brands or designers or receive commissions from wealthy individuals, this often creates a dependency on external clients. The lack of predictable demand for these high-end or artistic pieces makes it challenging for artisans to build a sustainable, independent livelihood. To adapt and survive, some traditional small businesses and craftspeople have transformed into small manufacturers or larger industrial units, fundamentally changing the handmade nature of their work. The rise of the industry of crafts model, heavily linked to tourism and cheap souvenirs, has further contributed to this decline. These products often adopt an industrial approach, focusing on uniformity, low cost, and high volume, directly cannibalizing the market for traditional quality-focused craft. Modern consumers increasingly prioritize the convenience and immediacy, often opting for more affordable, factory-made alternatives. Changing lifestyles mean that traditional static designs and functionalities no longer align with modern tastes or everyday needs. Furthermore, due to the prevalence of the industry of crafts model, where designs can become stagnant or offer a shallow representation of heritage, traditional craft is sometimes unfairly labeled as outdated or tacky. Another significant challenge is the decreasing interest among younger generations in learning traditional crafts, often due to the perception of low social status, poor pay, or limited career opportunities. Compounding this, many experienced artisans are reluctant to teach, fearing that it might create competition or simply not wanting to invest their time without fully commitment from apprentices. Much of the invaluable knowledge is tacit, meaning it's unwritten and passed down directly from generation to generation. If this chain breaks, the knowledge is lost. Finally, many existing training facilities are not adequately addressing modern challenges or evolving market needs, failing to prepare new craftspeople for contemporary realities. Also, there is this romantic resistance to modernity and an insistence on safeguarding traditional apprenticeship models by artisans, while seemingly heroic ultimately contributes to the isolation and eventual decline of certain artisanal practices. So at this point you might ask, do we really need traditional handcrafted objects in our modern lives? Should we just let traditional craftsmanship run its course? If you asked me 5 years ago, I would have said yes. But today I would say we need it more than ever. While industrialization provides undeniable convenience, it often falls short in delivering crucial elements that traditional craft inherently offers. Traditional craft objects are tangible links to our past. They embody traditions, beliefs, and community values. In a globalized world of homogeneous objects, they serve as a grounding force, reminding us of our roots and giving us a sense of belonging. Consumers are increasingly seeking authenticity and uniqueness. They are tired of mass-produced, disposable items and create products with a story, character, and a connection to cultural heritage. Handcrafted items possess a soul, a story of the artisan, the materials, and the culture. They offer a deeper emotional connection, becoming cherished items that reflect individual style and create lasting bonds. Traditional crafts often embody sustainability and responsible consumption. Because they use natural local materials with minimal waste. They are made for durability and longevity, a direct counterpoint to our throwaway culture. Beyond this, traditional crafts directly support local artisans and communities, fostering small-scale entrepreneurship and diverse local economies. In short, while industrially produced goods meet basic needs, traditional craft provides a richer, more sustainable, and deeply human layer to our daily lives. So there is value to it, but is there a market for it? Given these profound benefits, the answer is yes. The market for handmade and artisanal goods is not only present but booming and rapidly growing. This growth is driven by consumers actively seeking authenticity, quality, sustainability, and emotional connection. The rise of social media and e-commerce platforms like Etsy have democratized access, allowing artisans to reach a global audience and incite interest in the masses. Travelers are actively seeking unique, locally made objects that capture the essence of their destination. And data shows strong sales in categories like homeware products, jewelry, hand-printed textiles, woodworks, among other traditional crafts. The opportunity is clear. The market wants authentic, high-quality, story-rich, sustainable, and functional traditional craft objects. The needs are there, but they have shifted from what traditional craftsmen are accustomed to. This presents a fundamental paradox. Why is traditional craftsmanship in decline when the demand for it is clearly on the rise? The problem lies in a critical disconnect. On one side, we have invaluable craft traditions that have often been slow to adapt to modern market demands and educational paradigms. On the other, we have a consumer base eager for authentic, non-homogenized products, but struggling to find high-quality, functional daily items imbued with true craft. Several key factors contribute to this disconnect. There's a lost functional focus. The historical shift towards folk artistry or mass-produced souvenirs has pushed utilitarian craft to the edges. This leaves artisans unprepared to meet the modern demand for functional everyday items. Instead, they opt to create more decorative objects. Isolation from modern design. There is a significant lack of collaboration and knowledge transfer between worlds of traditional craft and product design. This prevents vital cross-pollination and innovation that could benefit both fields. Lack of business acumen. Many talented craftspeople lack the necessary entrepreneurial skills, such as marketing, branding, and financial management, needed to translate their skills into sustainable businesses and reach this market. A lot of the times, this is the result of an educational imbalance. Craft education often focuses narrowly on technical skills, neglecting essential design thinking, problem solving, and market understanding needed for relevant contemporary products. What can we do? How can we empower the craftsmen to truly thrive in this evolving landscape? The answer is not about choosing between tradition and innovation, but about thoughtful integration and empowerment. Integrating design thinking. To ensure a vibrant future for craft, we need to equip artisans not just with technical skills, but with a strong methodological foundation in design. This helps them to become confident problem solvers and creators of their own innovative solutions, moving beyond simply repeating what they have learned. This means teaching them to conduct user research, identifying challenges and opportunities. They should learn to research existing products, experiment with different techniques, test the limits of materials, learn to iterate and test their ideas. In short, follow a product development methodology to innovate and develop quality solutions. Design thinking concepts should be grounded in the artisan's lived experiences and understanding of materials and techniques. The knowledge held by craftspeople is a distinct and valuable form of expertise, not inferior to the formal knowledge of designers. So it is important to recognize the inherent design wisdom already present in traditional craft practices and encourage a deeper engagement with the design process. Ultimately, cultivating critical thinking skills and providing opportunities for reflection within their practice empowers craftspeople to continuously learn, adapt, and evolve their creative work. Fostering entrepreneurial mindsets. Craft education needs to empower artisans to understand the broader sociocultural, political, and commercial aspects of their work. This includes providing business training that cover essential practices for sales growth and the successful launch of their own small-scale enterprises. It's also about learning to tell a compelling story about their work and themselves in order to connect with customers on a deeper level. Understanding market dynamics and developing entrepreneurial skills gives craftspeople more agency and sustainability. Encouraging collaboration and innovation. The integration of traditional craftsmanship with new manufacturing techniques should be actively encouraged. This opens pathways for their skills to flourish in contemporary fields like fashion or industrial design. Supporting collaboration among craftspeople helps them apply their cultural references and techniques to conceive new objects. This can gently address the traditional tendency of artisans to work in solitude or be hesitant to share techniques, showing that shared knowledge can be much more effective. Ultimately, it's about transforming the artisan from merely a skilled producer into a design-conscious entrepreneur or an insightful cultural producer. They must be capable of identifying market needs, innovating with their tradition, and creating objects that are not only beautiful but also deeply meaningful and useful in daily life. This is the clear path to ensuring that traditional craftsmanship doesn't just survive but truly flourish. The beauty of integrating design thinking into craft education becomes particularly evident when we consider the principles of emotional design. According to design pioneer Don Norman, there are three primary levels: visceral, behavioral, and reflective. These levels describe how people experience and react to design, from immediate gut feelings to lasting memories and value judgments. Visceral design. This level focuses on the immediate intuitive reactions to how something looks and feels. It's about that initial gut feeling and first impressions, often driven by aesthetics and sensory experiences. Traditional craft objects inherently possess this aesthetic appeal. Their unique textures, colors, and forms, combined with the artisan's touch, often captivates us on a fundamental level. When coupled with a modern aesthetic that suggests contemporary use, this immediately catches the consumer's attention. Second, behavioral design. This level is all about how well a product functions and how easily it helps users achieve their goals. It emphasizes usability, efficiency, and the overall experience of using the product. Users should feel satisfied, in control, and find the process intuitive and with minimal effort. This is often the main element lacking in many traditional craft objects we see today. This is precisely where integration of design thinking becomes transformative. If the artisan considers the needs of the user and their personal traditions, personal traditions, and creates an object that user will genuinely want to use and enjoy, they will successfully achieve this principle. Reflective design. This level involves the long-term evaluation and appreciation of a product. It's about the conscious judgment of its performance, overall benefits, and perceived value over time. When a crafted object successfully marries its visceral appeal with thoughtful behavioral design, it unlocks this profound reflective potential. If users are delighted by both its beauty and its functionality, they are much more likely to form deep emotional bonds, continue using it, and recommend it to others. The compelling story of culture, tradition, and the artisan, which initially attracted the consumer, now transforms. The object transcends being solely the craftsperson's story, it becomes part of the consumer's own identity and narrative. This is the ultimate power of emotionally resonant design in craft, moving beyond mere aesthetics to create objects that are not just seen and admired, but actively used, deeply valued, and intrinsically connected to our lives. Right. In Armenia, we see firsthand the challenges and opportunities we've been discussing. This led us to establish TUMO Studios, an informal free education program in craftsmanship and design. Our aim there is not to replace universities or vocational centers, but to bridge the existing gap with Armenia's design and crafts education. We focus on aligning our curriculum with the evolving needs of the modern market. Our program empowers young adults, regardless of prior experience, with no skill set needed to thrive in the craft market. This includes preparing them to launch their own businesses, secure leading roles in design and craft industries, build strong portfolios, and even pursue higher education. TUMO Studios focuses on 6 key fields, from Armenian embroidery and jewelry making to product design that integrates traditional crafts like stone carving. Our curriculum is designed to be holistic, moving beyond just technical skills. Technical courses teach fundamental craft techniques, but crucially, they also introduce design methodologies from day one. Students learn to respond to design briefs, encouraging them to design for a target audience, not just for themselves. Design ateliers are intensive workshops led by local and international designers that expose students to diverse perspectives and cutting-edge practices. Foundational courses focus on auxiliary digital skills necessary to thrive and essential soft skills, practical knowledge for starting a business, building a brand identity, and conducting market research. And with short lectures, students broaden their knowledge with insights into art and design history, industry success stories, and innovative materials and techniques. What truly brings our educational philosophy to life is the TUMO Studio shop. Here, student design products developed and produced in-house are featured and sold. This creates a direct and powerful connection between education and real-world application. Students are constantly encouraged to create items that are not only well-designed and crafted, but also reproducible and commercially viable. The emphasis is always on understanding and designing for the market, effectively bridging the gap between creative expression and economic sustainability. At TUMO Studios, we're actively trying to address the paradox we discussed earlier, and we've had some really positive results. To conclude, the future of craft lies in empowering artisans to be design-conscious entrepreneurs. By bridging tradition with innovation, we can ensure that handcrafted objects continue to tell our stories, serve our needs, and contribute meaningfully to a more authentic and sustainable world. TUMO Studios is just one model for how we can approach this challenge, and every unique context and culture requires its own specific solution, as there is no single one-size-fits-all answer. Thank you. Questions?
Does anybody have a question?
Thank you. That was so wonderful. Very, very enriching.
Thank you.
It's really fascinating to see the divide between vocational and university. Is there a government incentive for this? Has the government... I'm coming from Sydney, Australia, and unfortunately we have a TAFE system and we have a university system, and unfortunately our government has really reduced the vocational TAFE system. So I'm wondering whether in Armenia the government supports this and nurtures this.
There is support, but it's very lacking, to say the least. That's why there was a need to create such a program like TUMO Studios. And honestly, even the universities there lacked any... there was a lack of design methodology and design thinking in the universities as well. So that is why also we have a lot of students that also go to universities that also come to TUMO Studios at the same time. And from my experience and our experience in general, it is much harder to teach students that have a design background in design, because there's a lot of unlearning to do there, than it is to teach students that have no background at all. I hope that answers your question.
You talked about emotional design. How does TUMO manage to teach this tacit knowledge, in fact? Because I'm sure you address it.
I guess it's all in the story. Learning to tell a story through the product. I have a industrial design, product design background, and although there was a story element in that as well, I realized in craft objects that is much more inherent. And when people buy a craft object, they expect a story, and it's up to the students to just tell a lovely story. And as I said, like if you see a product, you're attracted to that product, and once you buy it, you can either admire it from afar, put it and display it in your home, or you can use it, and with use, that's where you get this emotional connection. So just concentrating on the story and concentrating on usability, that's how you kind of achieve that. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
What are the challenges did you face initially when you started off with this program, or if you're still facing in implementing all these educational programs initiated by TUMO Studio?
What initial what initial problems we faced?
Yeah, initially when you might have started, or if you're still facing challenges now also.
Initially, we just started with the design workshops. We noticed there's a lack of, not everyone had the technical skills, so that's why we added technical courses, which actually became much more, a lot of people wanted to participate in the technical courses, And that's where we realized we're coming back to the initial problem where we're just teaching technique and not not a lot of design. So we started implementing design thinking into the technical courses, which is, by the way, very simple. At the end of the technical course or during the technical course, we encourage students to research, just researching different products. They learn about basic methodologies like the double diamond methodology. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. And the main problem, and this is something I repeat all the time to the students, is don't fall in love with your first idea. Because you give a brief and just really quickly a student already has an answer to that brief. And it's really important to just relax and do your research first, do your drawings, do everything necessary, and then come up with results. That's like the final thing you have to do.
I believe it's my turn.
Yeah.
So you said that to become more modern, craft works should be put together with design. Do you believe that all traditional craft workers wants to become designer to be more modern, or
Definitely not. I'm thinking more about the future generation of craftspeople. I work with a lot of craftsmen in Armenia, and a couple of things I've said in the presentation where there's this reluctance to teach, there's this reluctance, reluctance to modernity. They just want to do the exact same thing they've been doing because it's sacred for them, and that's very understandable. But as there is a decline, it's important for the future generation to also think about modern needs as well. Welcome.
Any questions? As you said in your presentation, Armenian crafts are attracting tourists more than locals. Does this mean that new Armenian craft companies are turning their attention to international consumers, or do they wish to promote their tradition in Armenia?
So, who's promoting? Is that what you asked? I didn't quite understand your question.
The question is more the new companies. Who are they selling their products to? Is it Armenians or international consumers?
We have, I can say from our experience, because like we have a shop, it's a mix of locals, Armenians from diaspora visiting Armenia, and also a lot of foreigners that are coming and like looking for authentic products that is not just souvenirs that they can find. Also, they experience the food, they experience different regions in Armenia, and when they see craft products that reflect these, they want to get that just to have something as a reminder of their experiences.
Hello. I wonder. Sorry for my English.
Okay.
I'm not young, so I cannot speak so well. But I wonder where did you learn design? Did you learn outside of Armenia, or how did you came to this point of view you are presenting today when you speak about design thinking and two diamonds method? Did you learn it somewhere, or are you just an autodidact, self learner? No. Okay.
No, I'm originally from Lebanon, and I studied design there at the Académie Libanais des Beaux-Arts, I worked with craftspeople in Lebanon, and then when I moved to Armenia to work at TUMO Studios, I started working with craftspeople there. So it's kind of experience in both countries.